Warning. I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised.
This is nothing new. It's just for me to keep up with the Epstein saga, to keep up with history, if you will. MIT Technology Review. January 10, 2020. 8 revelations from MIT's Jeffrey Epstein report. At one point, university officials had wanted to approve Epstein donations of up to $10 million. MIT today released the results of an outside investigation into the university's connection with alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. The report confirmed that top officials had committed, quote, significant mistakes of judgment in approving donations from Epstein. It was already known that senior administration figures had been aware of Epstein's donations, which totaled $850,000 from 2002 to 2017. All donations were made either to the late MIT computer scientist Marvin Minsky, accused by Virginia Giuffre, former MIT Media Lab director Joy Ito, or mechanical engineering professor Seth Lloyd. The program confirmed that several administrators, Jeffrey Newton, Gregory Morgan, and Israel Ruiz, agreed to the donations on the condition that they would be anonymous and that Epstein would not publicize them. While administrators knew of the donations, today's report by the law firm Goodwin Procter found that none of them were aware that Epstein had visited campus 9 times from 2013 to 2017. Joy Ito's personal venture outside MIT received $1.25 million from Epstein. Lloyd accepted a personal gift of $60,000 from Epstein without telling MIT. He was placed on paid leave. From Dlux.com. A new MIT report on Jeffrey Epstein raises questions about how much to blame billionaires like Bill Gates. How complicit was Silicon Valley? January 10, 2020. Bill Gates has been ensnared in a controversy surrounding his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. For months, tech billionaires have been on the ropes over the ties they maintained with money manager Jeffrey Epstein well after he was indicted and registered as a sex offender in 2008. Many of those connections center around MIT's Media Lab, an institution popular in Silicon Valley, and that had a concealed fundraising relationship with Epstein. But many of those billionaires, from Bill Gates to Reid Hoffman, weren't exactly revealing about their ties to Epstein when he was arrested this summer, or were at least quick to defend the Media Lab's leadership over the Epstein situation. Many hoped that a months in the making external report from lawyers hired by MIT would finally put those questions to rest. But when the report was released Friday, investigators skirted direct answers about statements of fact and ultimately failed to settle some of the basic questions about Silicon Valley's responsibility for nurturing Epstein. Let's start with Gates. The until recently richest man in the world had consistently downplayed his ties with Epstein, telling one reporter, quote, I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him, but Gates is among the tech billionaires with the most extensive disclosed ties to Epstein. Whether Epstein and Gates did have a, quote, business relationship has been disputed. Gates did make a $2 million donation to the Media Lab in 2014, and Ronan Farrow reported in The New Yorker that Epstein was credited with securing the Gates money, with internal records saying that Epstein had, quote, directed the gift or made it at his instruction. Quote, Gates is making this gift at the recommendation of a friend of his who wishes to remain anonymous, the record said. Gates' aides denied Epstein's direction of the gift, but if he did, as Farrow reported he did, it raises a possibility that Gates was somehow complicit in the image rehabilitation of Epstein and part of an unseemly cover-up. But MIT investigators did little to help establish truth and fiction in the situation. In 2014, Epstein claimed to have arranged for Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates to provide an anonymous $2 million donation to the Media Lab. MIT's lawyers wrote in a 63-page report. Representatives of Bill Gates have told us that Gates flatly denies that Epstein had anything to do with Gates' donation. This, suffice it to say, skirts the question of who is telling the truth, and effectively leaves it as an unresolved he said, she said. So in the report, MIT's investigators do not definitely say it did not happen, they just said they didn't see any evidence of it. and that statement would then have to be reconciled with MIT's internal records, which offer at least some evidence to the contrary. Despite Gates' public comments minimizing his ties to Epstein, the New York Times uncovered numerous instances of the two meeting privately. To say nothing of Gates' underlings, at one point, Gates told colleagues that the lifestyle of Epstein, who at that point was already a convicted sex offender, was, quote, intriguing. That brings us to another Silicon Valley luminary who has apologized over Epstein. Reid Hoffman, the LinkedIn founder and political power broker, has his own ties to Epstein through the Media Lab, where he sits on the advisory board. Hoffman helped raise money for the Media Lab, which involved fundraising solicitation meetings with the sex offender. Hoffman has said that he vouched for Epstein because it told him that Epstein has cleared MIT's vetting process. He even went so far as to bring Epstein out of Palo Alto for a dinner with people like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Peter Thiel in 2015. That was the last time that Hoffman saw Epstein, but as recently as last August, Hoffman was standing up strongly for Ito and his handling of the Epstein situation. It took Hoffman until Farrell's story in September to apologize. In this new report from MIT makes clear that Hoffman and Epstein had other interactions over the years. In July 2013, Epstein visited the MIT campus to meet with Hoffman and others, and Hoffman continued to be consulted on Epstein matters. In July 2016, Ito sought advice from Reid Hoffman about whether to allow Epstein to attend a conference, perhaps the announcement of the Media Lab Director's Fellows, with, quote, lots of people who may, quote, see him and maybe know he's involved, the authors write. What they don't write is what Hoffman actually advised Ito. That's one of many things that we still need to know to fully account for Silicon Valley's complicity in the Epstein saga. And of course, from the New York Post, January 9, 2020, footage outside Jeffrey Epstein's cell during suicide attempts erased, say prosecutors. Surveillance footage capturing the outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell during his first suicide attempt in July is gone forever, prosecutors confirmed Thursday in a bombshell court filing. A lawyer for Epstein's one-time cellmate, Nicholas Tartaglione, has been seeking the footage in order to prove that his client, a former cop who is awaiting trial for a quadruple homicide, is not responsible for the neck injuries Epstein sustained while they shared a cell weeks before the suicide. Well, of course it's gone. They gotta get rid of the evidence. But one thing I didn't know that I actually learned from Ed in the Outer Light channel, I'll leave a link, is Nicholas Tartaglione, the former Brycliffe Manor cop accused of quadruple homicide, strangled the first victim with a zip tie. Federal prosecutors allege in new court documents. From IOHUD, part of the USA Today Network. September 23, 2019. Feds. Tartaglione strangled one of his victims with a zip tie. Why is this important? Well, a zip tie won't set off metal detectors and could probably be easily snuck into a jail cell. It was the first time prosecutors have publicly detailed how they suspect Nicholas Tartaglione killed Martin Luna at an Orange County bar on April 11, 2016. Previously, they had alleged that Tartaglione lured Luna to the Liquid Lounge in Chester because he suspected Luna of stealing money from him in a drug deal. The unsuspected Luna brought along a nephew, Miguel Luna, his niece's boyfriend, Urbano Santiago, and a family friend, Hector Gutierrez. When the men arrived, all four were restrained by Tartaglione and unnamed co-conspirators. Tartaglione then hit Martin Luna repeatedly and eventually put a plastic zip tie around Luna's neck and pulled it tight, choking Luna and ultimately killing him. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Maureen Comey and Jason Swergold said in the court papers. Well, he already did it once, and if it was a conspiracy and he knew the footage was going to be disappeared, then he would request it because he knew they wouldn't find it.
Fucking stoned.
I got